Good evening. This is the News at 6. I'm Ishan Russell, and the News at 6 is all about updating you on the big developing stories that have happened through the day. Today, what we'll be talking about is the big cabinet meet that is supposed to take place just very shortly. Also, we'll be talking about the nomination filing for the big chief ministerial candidates for Delhi polls. Arvind Kejriwal, Kiran Bedi and Ajay Markan all filed their nomination papers today. All that and more over the next half hour. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Union Cabinet meeting today ahead of budget session that's scheduled to start on the 23rd of February. The top contenders for Delhi's top job, Kiran Bedi, Arvind Kejriwal and Ajay Markan filed the nomination papers for the Delhi Assembly elections. Coal allotment process to start tomorrow, government to notify 36 blocks. And President Barack Obama strikes a defiant note in his State of Union address, tells Republicans to back his middle-class economics and raise taxes on the rich. Well, our top story today, the budget session of Parliament is set to start from the 23rd of February and will conclude on the 8th of May with a month-long recess. Now, the general budget will be presented on the 28th of February. Before that, the railway budget will be presented on the 26th, followed by the economic survey on the 27th of February. The Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs recommended to the President the schedule of the budget session. The first part of the session will continue till the 20th of March. The second part of the session will commence after a month-long recess from April 20th. The session will conclude on the 8th of May. The recess period for the session is utilized by parliamentary committees to examine the budget proposals of the various ministries. The session will begin with the address of President Pranab Mukherjee to the joint sitting of the two houses. The motion of thanks to the President's address will be debated on the 24th and 25th of February. If the motion is not passed in the 2 days, it will be taken up later. And the Cabinet is also all set to meet this evening after the dates for the forthcoming session were recommended. The government is seeking to convert 6 ordinances into legislations. The ordinances include those on coal, mines and minerals, e-rickshaws, Amendment to Citizenship Act, land acquisition and the one on FDI in the insurance sector. Parliamentary Affairs Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu made it clear that the government is ready to counter the opposition's criticism over frequent ordinances in the last 2 months. He had earlier defended the ordinances as necessary.
The United Front, which ruled only for 2 years and issued 77 ordinances. My leftist friends should understand they were part of the United Front government. They were supporting United Front government. And the Communist Party gentleman was the Home Minister of India at that time, to my knowledge, Sri Indrajit Gupta. And then Congress Party also supported United Front regime. When they could issue 77 ordinances, but means 3 ordinances per month, at the strike rate of 3 ordinances per month, and they criticized this government of resorting to ordinances, particularly in an extraordinary situation where the House is not allowed to function. The government have no intention to bypass Parliament at all.
And the correspondent Vishal Daya has been tracking all these developments that have been happening on the political front. So, Vishal, the Cabinet is supposed to meet right now. The decisions, the dates for the budget session of Parliament are out. So, a lot on the Union Cabinet's mind as far as defining the agenda for the budget session is concerned.
Well, yes, you're right. The agenda for the budget session is something on which the government seems to have been working for, past week or 10 days or so. And we saw a meeting which was, convened by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister yesterday with senior ministers from whose ministries these ordinances have been issued. Now, yesterday's meeting was specifically about discussing the ways and means to bring in the legislations, the bills with regard to replace these ordinances in the budget session. Today the dates are out and the Cabinet is also meeting right now at South Block. What we are told by our sources is that today, though there was a likelihood of the Cabinet taking up the issue of disinvestment in certain PSUs, but since the Finance Minister is not in town, then these larger decisions which require the presence of Finance Minister seems to have been deferred. But then, as far far as politics around the issue of ordinance is concerned, yes, the government seems to have entrenched itself very clearly. It is a sort of decided as to what is going to be its strategy in the forthcoming budget session. While on one hand the government is planning to bring in at least 6 legislations to replace 6 of these ordinances which were issued in the meanwhile, the government is also not going soft on the opposition's attack. Rather, as pointed out by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister today, the government has clearly outlined its strategy vis-a-vis the replies which have to be given to the opposition, be it inside the house or outside the house. The strategy seems to be very clear that if at all the previous governments such as the governments led by Congress or those led by other coalition governments led by other political parties, if they could issue ordinances at such large scale, why can't the NDA government led by Narendra Modi issue these ordinances? And the government argues that the reasoning behind the reason or rationale behind the government issuing these ordinances is pretty much clear. That is because the opposition did not let the upper house function, and that necessitated the issuance of these ordinances. So ultimately, the government is putting the ball back in opposition's court, but it is also significantly arming itself with the suitable legislations and bills which can be tabled in the House, and then the opposition can be asked to go ahead and agree for a debate or a structured discussion on the floor of the House.
All right, Vishal, we leave it there. Vishal, keeping a track of those big developments as they happened. Of course, the cabinet meeting, he'll be updating us on the decisions that will be taken on that meeting. Thanks very much for that update for now. All right, now the government will kick off the process of allotting coal blocks tomorrow. The Coal Ministry will notify allotment of 36 coal blocks. However, the rules for government dispensation will be notified today.
The government is all set to auction 23 blocks under Schedule 2 and another 23 in the Schedule 3 block list. According to the Coal Mines Special Provisions Ordinance 2014, Schedule 2 mines are those which have already come into production, while Schedule 3 mines are those which are ready to come into production.
The first day would be 22nd, that is tomorrow. We bring out the notification tonight and it starts operating from tomorrow. And we should be able to complete execution of allotment agreement by 28th of February. So all this will happen well before 31st of March.
Coal Secretary also said that new coal mines may not impact Coal India's prices but would ramp up coal supply.
Today we are importing more than 180 million tons of coal, which means that there is much more demand than what Coal India is producing at this point in time. What these auctions will do, and I'd like to clarify here, is to certainly increase the quantity of coal.
Last September, the Supreme Court had scrapped 214 coal blocks allocated since 1993, saying the blocks had been given out in an arbitrary manner. The government moved an ordinance late in October, enabling auctions of some of these blocks. Now the government proposes to complete the entire process by March 31st. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
The top 3 challengers in the Delhi Assembly polls filed their nominations today. BJP's Kiran Bedi, Aam Aadmi Party Chief Arvind Kejriwal and Congress's Ajay Markan held road shows before filing their papers. All 3 seemed confident to win this 3-way contest amid rising verbal duel ahead of the elections.
Kiran Bedi, Arvind Kejriwal and Ajay Markan, the top 3 contestants in the Delhi Assembly elections, officially entered the fray on Wednesday, the last day to file nominations. Kiran Bedi is contesting from Krishnanagar in East Delhi, a BJP stronghold, thanks to Union Minister Harshvardhan, who has been MLA from this seat in the last few elections. Arvind Kejriwal is seeking re-election from New Delhi seat, where he made a spectacular electoral debut in 2013 by defeating 3-time Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit handsomely. Ajay Markan will contest from Sadar Bazaar, hoping his return to state politics will benefit Congress to regain some ground. All 3 candidates held road shows before filing their nomination papers on Wednesday. Addressing supporters, they highlighted their priorities for Delhi amid increasing political rhetoric.
ये सब डॉक्टर साहब की अनथक मेहनत का नतीजा है। लोग इनको यहाँ के लोग बहुत प्यार करते हैं। काश पिछले साल ये चीफ मिनिस्टर होते। काश ये कोई बात नहीं, अब इनकी बड़ी बहन के हाथ में है, इनके हाथ में ही है, यही समझ के चलो।
लड़ाई जो है वो किसी इंडिविजुअल के खिलाफ नहीं है, लड़ाई किसी पार्टी के खिलाफ नहीं है, लड़ाई हमारी भ्रष्टाचार और महंगाई के खिलाफ। लोगों को तय करना है और मैं पूरे नई दिल्ली विधानसभा में भी घूम रहा हूँ, दिल्ली में घूम रहा हूँ और लोग मन बना चुके हैं कि आम आदमी पार्टी को दोबारा लाना है और इस बार पूरे बहुमत से लाना है।
Did Kejriwal challenge Kiran Walia?
Right.
So Kejriwal challenged me and Kiran Bedi. So likewise, yes. So likewise, I have challenged Kejriwal and Kiran Bedi to come and discuss with me.
Among other prominent faces to file nomination on the last day were BJP's Jagdish Mukhi and Vijendra Gupta, Congress's Sharmishta Mukherjee, who is the daughter of President Pranab Mukherjee, and Kiran Walia. While Mukhi will contest from Janakpuri, Mukherjee has been tasked to win the Greater Kailash seat.
मैं सोच समझ के इस फील्ड पे उतरी हूँ और काफ़ी दिनों से मैं अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में काम कर रही हूँ, तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में काफ़ी घूमने का बाद, इंटरेक्शन करने के बाद मुझे अब जो लगता है कि मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में जो लड़ाई होगी वो बीजेपी और कांग्रेस में होगी, क्योंकि लोग मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में आम आदमी पार्टी से काफ़ी खफा हैं, डिसअपॉइंटेड हैं, एक सेंस ऑफ बिट्रेयल हैं।
Congress's Kiran Walia will take on Arvind Kejriwal from New Delhi seat. BJP's bet at this prestigious seat, Nupur Sharma also filed her papers. Vijendra Gupta, who lost to Kejriwal last time, will contest from Rohini. With inputs from Anu Diwan and Vipin Chauhan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, we'll take a very quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, there's a swine flu scare in Telangana. 2 more deaths have been reported. More on that on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. I'm Vishan Russell, and let's talk about the Trinamool Congress MP Dinesh Trivedi now, who continued his verbal support to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, seen as his effort to join the BJP. A day after speculations that he may quit his present party, Trivedi chose to criticize West Bengal Chief Minister and Party Chief Mamata Banerjee today. He said recent confrontations between the West Bengal government and the centre could adversely affect development in the state. Though he dismissed reports of his joining the BJP or his intent to, Trivedi praised Modi again, calling him a positive force.
हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री यदि कोई अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं तो मैं नहीं समझता उसमें कोई गुनाह है। आज सिर्फ मैं नहीं सराह रहा हूं, पूरी दुनिया हिंदुस्तान की तरफ देख रही है।
This is not the first time that Dinesh Trivedi has made such comments. In fact, this is the second day in a row. And this is not the first time that a leader from the Trinamool Congress has spoken out in favor of the BJP. Recently, another minister in the Mamata Banerjee cabinet had quit and joined the BJP. So as far as the BJP is concerned, it is certainly trying for a major contest with the Trinamool Congress in West Bengal. All right, and we have a correspondent, Shyam Sundar, with us. Shyam, of course, has been keeping a track of all these developments as far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned. And it seems that the BJP is really eating into Mamata's house. And given the fact that there's so much disgruntlement already within the TMC camp, a lot of leaders wanting to switch over, perhaps.
Definitely, in last Lok Sabha elections, BJP got around 18% votes, which was, there was an increase of almost 12% votes in BJP, and they won 2 seats from West Bengal, and in one by-election they got a assembly seat also. So BJP is quite ambitious in West Bengal, and the way BJP is trying to make its organization in West Bengal, and the way BJP is trying to get leaders and activists from other parties, it is noticed in West Bengal in last few months after Lok Sabha elections. And as far as Trinamool Congress is concerned, Mamata Banerjee until now was defending its party and its leaders aggressively in Sarda scam, Sarda chit fund scam. But after CBI has taken charge, and the way senior leaders of Trinamool Congress are put in jail, and CBI has summoned Mr. Mukul Roy, who is very, very close confidant of Mamata Banerjee, and he is General Secretary of Trinamool Congress. After that, many senior leaders of Trinamool Congress are feeling really insecure in Trinamool Congress. They are not very sure that, many feel that CBI is at the doorstep of Ms. Mamata Banerjee, and if Mamata Banerjee is quizzed by CBI, then what happens after Mamata Banerjee Banerjee to TMC, nobody is very sure. So many senior leaders are cozying up to BJP, and especially if we talk about Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, we should remember then when he was rail minister and he increased fare in rail budget, Mamata Banerjee objected and she instructed Mr. Dinesh Trivedi to roll back, and he refused, and he was forced to resign from the post of rail minister. So he is not very favorite of Mamata Banerjee, and this is the time when Mr. Dinesh Trivedi may be thinking to cross over to BJP, and the way he has insisted even today, it is very, very clear that he is not very happy with Mamata Banerjee and he is looking towards BJP.
All right, so disgruntlement in the TMC camp. Let's see whether that benefits the BJP. Sham, of course, will be keeping a track of that story for us. Thanks very much for filling in and us in with those details for now, Sham. Now, 2 fresh swine flu deaths have been reported from Telangana on Tuesday, taking the overall death toll in January to 9. State capital Hyderabad has also recorded 48 fresh positive swine flu cases, the highest ever reported in a single day since the 2009 swine flu epidemic in the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh. The state governments today sought the centre's help to check the spread of the deadly virus. Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and requested that a central team be deployed and other help be provided to the state. Punjab also recorded its first swine flu death of the year after a 55-year-old woman succumbed to the H1N1 virus in Amritsar.
I'm sending a team today, a senior high-level delegation team is going to Hyderabad today, and they will visit the Telangana region. And we are, after getting the report from them, or whatever support they need, we will give them. They have asked for some medicines. They have got adequate medicines, but whatever additionality they need, the central government is all ready to give it.
News from the stock markets, and it was largely positive as the markets edged higher today, hitting a record high for the second consecutive day. Both the Sensex and the Nifty gained for the 5th straight session on sustained funds inflow amid pre-budget optimism. Sensex rose today by more than 100 points to end at 28,889. Earlier in the day, the Sensex also hit an all-time intraday high of 28,958. Nifty also touched its all-time intraday high of 8,742 before closing at 8,370, surpassing its previous closing high yesterday. The US President Barack Obama will soon embark on his second visit to India. Tight security is in place for a second visit, a first by any sitting US president. His visit is expected to transcend the optics and grandeur of the Republic Day celebrations and unleash a novel episode in Indo-American trade ties. And corporate India, of course, has high expectations from the US president's visit.
Security preparations are almost complete for US President Barack Obama's 3-day visit to India this week. This will be the first time that a US president is making 2 trips to India in one term. The centre is leaving no stone unturned, placing multi-tier security for this high-profile visit.
ओबामा के आने के बाद सुरक्षा व्यवस्था पूरी तरह से मुकम्मल है. कहीं किसी प्रकार का कोई संकट नहीं है.
Obama and Prime Minister Narendra Modi are likely to address top CEOs in 2 back-to-back meetings on January 26th. Both countries may define the specifics for achieving a bilateral trade target of $500 billion by 2020 from about $100 billion currently, from smart cities to defense procurement, from the Make in India initiative to technology transfer. India Inc. is buoyant about American interest.
The investment is going to come into the e-commerce sites in a big way. It's going to come into agriculture. It will going to come into defense production. These are the areas which the Americans will have interest. And obviously Indians are looking at more of technology transfer.
Industry experts also expect US companies to announce investments, especially in sectors such as manufacturing, defense and aviation.
Stronger ties on the economic front will result in a huge amount of investment. As we all know, our mineral wealth still lies largely untapped and there is great potential. We believe the American companies and industry will come in and help us develop that at a absolutely contemporary level.
President Obama's visit to India, it's a indication, clear indication that US right now puts a lot of emphasis on India's importance, and they want to make sure this relationship grows.
The World Bank has predicted that India is on its way to becoming the fastest growing economy in 2 years, replacing China. Ahead of President Obama's visit, positive growth forecast could give an edge to India to clinch key deals. Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
And staying with news about Barack Obama, economic policies to benefit all and the fight against the Islamic State and a thrust against climate change were the focus for the US President's State of the Union address to the Congress on Tuesday evening. But some senior members of the Republican majority Congress have already dismissed his rhetoric as little more than class warfare.
The President of the United States.
Barack Obama's first State of the Union address in the face of new Republican majority in Congress. The thrust trumpeting job growth and other signs of recovery from the 2008 economic crisis, boasting partly fulfilled promises on returning US troops to peace.
Tonight, we turn the page. Tonight, after a breakthrough year for America, our economy is growing and creating jobs at the fastest pace since 1999. Tonight, for the first time since 9/11, our combat mission in Afghanistan is over. 6 years ago, nearly 180,000 American troops served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Obama used the speech to promote an ambitious program of middle-class economics, citing the legacy of several social service schemes, as he pitched for a tax hike on the wealthy and greater equality for all sections.
Will we accept an economy where only a few of us do spectacularly well? Or will we commit ourselves to an economy that generates rising incomes and chances for everyone who makes the effort? We need a tax code that truly helps working Americans trying to get a leg up in the new economy, and we can achieve that together, helping hardworking families make ends meet, giving them the tools they need for good-paying jobs in this new economy, maintaining the conditions of growth and competitiveness. This is where America needs to go.
New ways to counter terrorist threats more than a decade after 9/11 was another focus area. The President asked Congress to formally approve new authorization for the ongoing battle against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria.
We stand united with people around the world who've been targeted by terrorists, from a school in Pakistan to the streets of Paris. We will continue to hunt down terrorists and dismantle their networks, and we reserve the right to act unilaterally, as we have done relentlessly since I took office, to take out terrorists who pose a direct threat to us and our allies. And tonight I call on this Congress to show the world that we are united in this mission by passing a resolution to authorize the use of force against ISIL.
Ending the embargo against former foe Cuba, taking on the climate change challenge, and a call to improve infrastructure were other points of Obama's speech. But watchers say the proposals won't go far. Republicans who now run the Senate and the House already label the speech a tired set of plans designed more towards elections that Obama faces in 2016. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, Russian Defense Minister Sergey Shoigu met Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. Shoigu is on a 3-day visit to India. Both Russia and India are looking to deepen bilateral cooperation in the defense sector. Modi said the partnership acquired new momentum with Russian President Putin's visit last year when Prime Minister Modi signed a series of agreements with him. The Prime Minister said Russia will remain New Delhi's most important defense partner. Shoigu was also slated to hold talks with his Indian counterpart Manohar Parrikar. Now, at a time when international conflict poses a big threat to global stability, world leaders have descended on Davos for the World Economic Forum. The 45th edition of the summit is being held under tight security as 40 heads of state and thousands others arrive for the annual meet.
Convened under the theme The New Global Context, the World Economic Forum in Davos will see 40 world leaders and 2,500 delegates from political, social and business backgrounds in attendance. In the wake of the recent attacks in Paris, the terrorism issue is likely to hog the limelight at the meeting.
We do not just want to define the issues. We want, with the help of all your collective brains, we want to help to create solutions. We are here not to pursue just our own interests. We are here really as a community of purpose to improve the state of the world.
Risks posed by global conflicts will be high on the agenda. They include the Ukraine conflict and the rising threat of Islamic State. The other areas of concern are the mismanagement surrounding mysterious air crashes. Data hacking and the Ebola outbreak are the other issues that will be discussed. On the economic front, a survey at the forum suggested that the chief executives are less optimistic about the economy this year. This survey shows that only 37% are confident of economic improvement in 2015, down from 44% last year. The IMF recently downgraded the global growth forecast for this year as well as next. Though the Chinese economy has seen the biggest slump in 24 years, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang called for joint efforts in promoting strong and sustained growth. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and Coal and Power Minister Piyush Goyal will lead the high-level Indian delegation. Jaitley will hold bilateral meetings with counterparts from Brazil and Switzerland. His meeting with the Swiss delegation will be keenly followed for any developments on the black money hunt. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Let's now get you more international news and updates in Global Buzz. Boko Haram leader Abu Bakr Shekau has claimed responsibility for the massacre of hundreds of people in the Nigerian town of Baga earlier this month. The militant leader also threatened to attack neighboring Niger, Chad and Cameroon in a video published online. The message came on Tuesday as Nigeria and its neighbors met to discuss a regional response to the military threat. Indonesia has said that the Air Asia flight that crashed into the Java Sea climbed faster than normal before stalling. Officials said that the plane was ascending at a speed of 6,000 feet per minute. The pilot asked to climb to avoid the storm before the plane disappeared off the radar. The officials have also said that the full preliminary report of the investigation will not be made public. China has punished 11 officials for failing to prevent the New Year's Eve stampede in Shanghai that killed 36 people. 4 officials were sacked while 7 were disciplined over the tragedy. The investigation team said local officials failed to prevent public risk. Most of those killed were trampled or asphyxiated. 49 others were injured in the incident. The US Navy successfully launched an Atlas V rocket designed to improve radio communication for US forces. The rocket carries the Navy's third mobile user objective system satellite. The spacecraft is expected to provide US military 10 times more communications capability over existing systems, including simultaneous voice, video and data, and leveraging 3G mobile communications technology. Well, now some sports. On day 3 of the Australian Open, top seeds sailed through to the second round, but not without a scare. The good news for India is that both Sania Mirza and Leander Paes won their respective matches. Sania Mirza and her Taiwanese partner got off to a roaring start in the women's doubles first-round match. The Indo-Taiwanese pair demolished Maria Irigoyen of Argentina and Romina Oprandi of Switzerland in straight sets 6-2, 6-0. In the men's doubles, India's Leander Paes and South Africa's Ravin Klassen entered the second round after beating American pair of Scott Lipsky and Rajiv Ram 6-4, 7-6. 17 times Grand Slam champion Roger Federer needed 4 sets to overcome his Italian opponent. Federer struggled in the first set with a sore finger, but sprang to life again to take the match 3-6, 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 against Simone Bolelli.
First set looked on track for a comfortable victory, but the world number 150 hit back to claim the second.
Well, that's the news at 6, but the news and updates continue right here on Rajya TV, so keep watching.